These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
It's a Scoop Session Tuesday here with our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. He's got his plaid Minnesota coffee mug. That's right.
Send him a text.
Rah for Sky your mom.
Phil's drinking.
It is a beer stein with some green tea in here.
Yeah, that's okay.
Deck, by the way, we're going to start Timberwolves here because we're a week and change away from the trade deadline. Doogie's guy, Bobby Marks, friend of Score North, with a big trade deadline primer piece on ESPN.com. We have ownership clock winding down here. Dex was at Target Center last night for a wildly impressive high-end Wolves victory. I was especially impressed by the 9 turnovers in the third quarter as they played with their food.
Can we touch on the fact that Gobert was damn near hit by a piece of like the horn that fell from the scoreboard?
Yeah, so what happened? Like a piece of the horn, the whole horn, or a piece of the horn fell?
The horn.
I read it was a piece.
I mean, it looked like it was like a clown, like a honka honka. It looked like a comical horn. Like literally, it looked like a cartoon horn.
It was a clown. A clown was right around.
And it fell from the jumbotron.
From the jumbotron.
Yes.
It came right from the jump and damn near hit Gobert in the head.
Did it hit Nikhil in the leg? Is that what happened?
It's scary stuff, though, man.
Good.
Target Center falling apart. Let's get a new building, huh?
So despite our pets' heads are
Mark
falling
and Alex
off.
are on board.
I'm sure.
What for what new arena?
Building? Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Okay, let's turn it over to Dewey. There's a million places we could go here. I will say the Wolves are now, I think this is a high watermark for them. 4 games over 500 at 25-21. They do have more winnable games on the schedule, so they could go on a run. Julius Randle it looks like he's integrating in better than maybe a month ago, but trade deadline coming, ownership decision coming, Wolves high watermark. Dukes, you take us wherever you want here.
Wire-to-wire victory last night. Declan, you had to enjoy yourself at Target Center last night. I mean, it was another one of those games. It is remarkable. I'm telling you, go up and down the list through their 46 games. How many good players have missed playing the Wolves? So sure, season high 4 games over 500. But how many more losses would they have if Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels play last night? Sacramento missed a guy or two a few weeks ago. Phoenix, go up and down. Norman Powell has missed games against them. Zion Williamson, I get it, the Pelicans stink. But
DiVincenzo.
Yes, 100%. And there is optimism on Nickeil Alexander-Walker that this is not any sort of long-term setback. I'll tell you, in the moment, it didn't look promising, right? Non-contact, you're like, uh-oh. But there does seem to be some optimism. He was joking in the locker room late last night. That's where that optimism comes from. Yes, absolutely. They missed Dante DiVincenzo. But I'm just saying there are at least a few games this year that they've won that, in my opinion, Phil, they would have lost if the other team had its full roster. But they don't need to apologize for that. I've said it for a long time. Greg Farnham, the rest of the Wolves training staff do a really good job. Yes, there's some luck involved, but there's also them doing their job at a really, really high level, having guys ready throughout the summer, getting their bodies ready for the duration of an 82-game season. I will continue to say, outside of Oklahoma City, so yeah, I just painted a little bit of a doom and gloom picture, but outside of Oklahoma City, and hey, it doesn't matter what I think necessarily, it's what they think internally, they still think this group can make some sort of decent run. Now, I get it. The bar was raised a ton based on going to the Western Conference Finals, having home court in the Western Conference Finals last year. So if that's the bar for this year, I don't know if they are going to hit that bar. But outside of the Thunder, if you want to make a case for the Grizzlies, I can listen. The Grizzlies did not look good last night at the Garden against the Knicks. But I think outside of Oklahoma City, who blows you away in the Western Conference? There is still an opportunity based on matchups that they could win a series or perhaps even 2 come May. Are they winning 4 series to win the championship? I'm not going there. But to suggest that this team can't make the playoffs or is absolutely going to lose in the first round, I'm sorry, I'm not there. The offense has been better. It wasn't great last night, but better if you go back the last few weeks. Top 5 offensive net rating? If you go back, like 6, 7, 8 games? You go back to December 1st. Like Julius Randle, as good a player as they have in terms of net rating. Finally made some three-pointers last night. He still takes way too many threes for my liking, but he finally made some threes. Last night he hadn't been making threes, but Julius has been better. Maybe he wasn't great last night, but if you look at his body of work going back multiple weeks, he's been pretty good. I'm sure you will get to, hey, are they going to trade Julius Randle? The trade deadline is 1 week from Thursday. In this moment, I'm just not hearing any sort of buzz. Do league people think he's available? Undoubtedly. But I just can't find the landing spot. I checked again on Detroit. Detroit is the logical landing spot. Detroit has cap space. I just haven't heard Detroit's team.
So, Duke, I think what you're talking about, though, is why, and I thought that this was actually at the end of the game, the story of the game, why Chris Finch was so upset and aired his team out publicly last night, because of the fact that the Hawks were, basically decimated. The Wolves had a good first half, coming off a game against Denver on Saturday that was probably their best game of the entire season.
Oh, I think it was, Judd. Yeah, I think it was. Not probably, it was.
And then they took a siesta in the second half. So I thought it was interesting that Finch very deliberately decided that this was going to be his time not to pull punches. I think that he was right. And I think that we're all sick of this roller coaster, which is they sort of decide when to engage and when not to. And I will tell you, if they continue that, they will not win a series in the playoffs. So, this is the question of what do you want your path to be? And I think Finch is finally at a point where he's going to stop protecting them and actually challenge them, which I like. I'm just curious if it works.
Yeah, I mean, the word is he lit them up big time in the locker room. I mean, I appreciate his transparency at the podium.
Yeah.
Last night, he was pretty frontal at the podium. He was even more direct in the locker room to the guys. So I have a lot of appreciation for Chris Finch on that. Yes, if they continue that trend, Judd, sure, they are not winning a playoff series. Finch is also mindful. I mean, you look at the standings. We do this almost every Tuesday and Thursday, but 25-21, 7th. They are one loss essentially from being in 10th, a couple losses from being in 11th, so outside of the play-in, but they're also a couple wins from being in 5th, a few wins from being in 4th. And I'm telling you, you look at 3, 4, 5, 6, Memphis, Denver, the Lakers, the Clippers. I don't know. Do any of those teams, maybe Memphis, maybe.
No.
But do any of those
Memphis
teams
is
blow
deep.
you away?
Memphis is no joke. Memphis, I feel like Memphis is, if it's a fully healthy Memphis team, I don't know if they would curb the rotation in a postseason series, but I mean, they're literally playing like a 10 or 11 man rotation oftentimes in the regular season. And hey, on the Wolves rotation, I do appreciate Finchy has now, after almost 46 games, Dillingham has his regular slots and he is instant offense. And Josh Minot, who previously couldn't make a 3, now can't make a layup. He's got the yips. He was benched for a while, but okay, he's back in the rotation. So some of this is necessity because DiVincenzo is out and Conley is playing a career low in minutes now. But even with, it's crazy, Dukes, to your point, with all these hiccups and the growing pains trying to get this roster together, when they're playing at their best, and by the way, Jaden McDaniels, too. Jaden McDaniels, 8 more rebounds last night. Him just discovering how to rebound 8 times a night. He's averaging almost 8 rebounds a game in the last 3 weeks, which is, don't underestimate if he is evolving as a player in that way. I think, yeah, even if this team goes in as like a 6 seed or a 5 seed, I do think they could beat almost any of these teams in a playoff series. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I mean, if they are a 5, if they play Denver the 4, you feel pretty darn good about that matchup. Let's say they end up as the 7. Houston is the 2. The Rockets, hey, they won in Boston last night. The Rockets are the real deal. They defend, they rebound. Rudy Gobert would have to raise his game significantly in a playoff series against the Rockets. The Thompson kid was off the charts last night. Just the length they can throw at you, the way they can harass you. I love this Rockets team. They will be in town a week from Thursday, speaking of trade deadline day, if you want to watch the Rockets in person. But I'm just saying, in a best of 7, if you are the 7, the Rockets are the 2, I don't think you're curling up in the fetal position. The Wolves did win in Houston a few weeks back. I just don't think that's one of those matchups you're like, whoa, oh. Now, hey, if you're the 7, that means you need to beat the 8 to earn the 7, which could be the Phoenix Suns, which is always, if they have their full complement, if they're fully healthy, that's always a tricky matchup. Plus, a lot of league people, Phil, will continue to tell you, like Jimmy Butler is going to end up in Phoenix. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Sounds
There's
like
some
he
hurdles.
is too.
Does anybody want Bradley Beal? Will
He
Beal
melted down to
waive his no
practice.
trade clause?
Shocking.
But a lot of league people are like, it's going to happen. Phoenix wants him more than anyone. All right, so if you have a big 3 of Durant, Butler, and Booker, again, can they stay healthy? I don't know. Would they be healthy in a 7-8 playing game? I don't know. But if they are, like, you still would need to win that 7-8 game, because then you're looking at the slippery slope of needing to win a game just to be the 8 to play the 1 Oklahoma City. If that's the path, then you are losing in the first round.
But this is all up in, like, to me, it's fine to talk about potential opponents, but personally, I think this is all about the Wolves. Like this is all about their players. What do they want to do? Like they are this is not a team where I look at opposing teams and think, well, the Wolves can't match up with them. This is a team where I look at them and say, what do they want to do? Because I was there on Saturday. They played a hell of a game offensively. Like they have the components, starting with Ant. They have the pieces to beat anybody. But the question is, do we see the first half against the Hawks? Do we see the second half? You know, basically for 4 quarters against a healthy Denver team, you guys, they were phenomenal. And so, like, I don't see this, and I think this goes to why Finch was upset last night. I don't think this has a lot to do with potential opponents. I think this has everything to do with them and what do they want.
It does. Sure, last night, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, because when they are working together, when they are active, when they are engaged, they are a damn good basketball team.
But the assumption, I think, I agree. And last night, Anthony Edwards was the biggest culprit. I know that, like, 25, 5, and 4, whatever. You know, goes 6 of 20. He took some of the worst shots of the season, just settling for these step backs when you're playing a bunch of backups. Move the ball and get open shots. But that's the indictment is, okay, it's a middle of the week game. You just played on ESPN ABC against the Nuggets and played your best game of the year. You got a big back-to-back coming up, Phoenix in a couple days. And it's like Anthony Edwards circles 10 dates on the calendar where he can just kind of putz around for 2.5 hours, and they still win the game. I think the assumption would be, all right, like you saw last year, in a 7-game series against Denver or Houston, you're not putzing around for 3 of the games. But yeah, like, this team has not, Anthony Edwards has not earned, no one should be flipping a switch on and off. But like if you're LeBron James and you're 40 and you want to flip a switch once in a while, this is your chance to take over the league. This is your team now. And we're still seeing way too many just nonchalant, casual offensive possessions, bad passes. I still think he's one of the best, most talented players in the league, but you'd like to see him cut out some of the nefarious things on offense, I guess, and defense. There's a couple things on defense too. It's like, dude, what?
Sure.
Yeah.
And he's still only 23, so it can happen. But that might be why, Phil, he's not like in that first tier.
No, he's
not.
Giannis,
Jokic, Shea, that he's in that second tier. Eventually can get to that first tier, but everything you just laid out to me is why he's not quite in that first tier. Now, hey, tomorrow night in Phoenix, that's one of those 10 days I promise he has circled, right? His guy KD, he'll bring it tomorrow. I'm not guaranteeing any sort of victory tomorrow night in Phoenix, but I would bet on Anthony Edwards having a better game tomorrow versus what he did last night. I just wonder, Judd, like Rudy was really good on Saturday.
Great.
But is it possible that we're seeing the start of regression with Rudy? Mike Conley Jr., certainly regression. Like Mike, I'm sorry, at this point, shouldn't be taking more than 5 shots a game because he can't make shots. He's just not making shots. And so you think about Gobert and Conley. Are we sure that this isn't the start of their games going backwards and there's no coming back? So I'm playing both sides here. I'm saying, hey, outside of OKC, nobody frightens me. Hey, take your chances, even if it's the Rockets in a 7-2 matchup. But, like, if we're seeing this season's version of Rudy in the playoffs, this season's version of Mike in the playoffs, they will lose in the first round. Or they won't make the playoffs.
If that's the case, then the Gobert contract extension becomes a talking point as well. Because, like, Conley is just old.
Sure.
So
But
if
they
he's
were always
done,
interested in that. I mean, I said it many times.
Sure.
Like,
sure, but
they
I'm just
wanted
saying,
to get that thing done. They did.
Sure. But if the cliff is here now and you just did the extension, it's still worth a conversation, worth questioning, right? So, but the Conley thing, though, gets back to the heart of the Dillingham situation. Because we talked about this on Flagrant on Monday. He should probably start at this point in time. Like there's ways to get around the Conley thing. The Gobert thing's a different thing. Like if that's a problem, then you've got problems. But I also think, to my point from before, you've got enough guys, starting again with Ant, who are very good. Like, I never look at this team and think they're bad. I look at this team and think they're disinterested at times. They don't play together at times. But, like, this is a team that, if they set their mind to it, can easily, in my opinion, get out of the play-in and have at least the potential to get home court. But again, this goes back to Finch. I think this is what drives him crazy, is he doesn't see that commitment by any means. And a coach can only do so much with that one.
Correct. Now, leading into next Thursday, I mean, they are completely hamstrung. I don't know how deep you dove on that Bobby Marks piece, Phil. I have not even read it yet, but we're well aware, second apron, all sorts of trade restrictions, but that doesn't mean they can't make a move. So whether it's for a backup center, now, hey, I'm in the minority, but are we sure Luka Garza couldn't fulfill some of those minutes, even with some of the hiccups on the defensive end? But you can make a case for a rim protector, backup type center. You can make a case for another shooter, another ball handler. Like, do you want to play Dillingham in clutch time? And hey, Mike might not be playable in clutch time often. And so could you use another ball handler to play those final 5 minutes, all these games within 5 points or less? So they certainly are active enough on the phone. I don't sense anything 8 days out here, or 9 days out, I guess it would be, anything being imminent. But like we saw the Monte Morris trade last year. 2 years ago, we saw a bigger type trade, Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So we know that Conley likes to work the phones. Matt Lloyd likes to work the phones. Oftentimes stuff doesn't leak until it's done, right? So, you know, I can check with other teams and I'm hearing nothing going on, but I'm not checking with every other team. And so, yeah, like, they're working it. I don't sense here 9 days out that anything is on the cusp of happening.
We'll get an ownership update here in a second and go through the rest of Doogie's scoop bag. But listen, on Saturday night, old Macadac here, he busted out a Pep's Legit pizza. This is not actual footage of me, but it's pretty darn close here on the YouTube channel. This throwback pizza parlor style frozen pizza from Pep's Legit Pizza, stone-baked cracker thin crust. So I opted for the sausage and mushroom. Threw it in the pizza maker for about 15 minutes. I like it to be a little like golden, kind of darker around the edges, and I like to overcook those frozen pizzas a little bit. But this is, I was telling you guys off mic, legitimately, no pun intended, legit, the best frozen pizza I've had in years and years and years. So go find Pep's Legit frozen pizzas in a grocery store near you in the Twin Cities and have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. Also, MSP Plumbing and Heating helping to power this scoop session today, Judley.
Absolutely true. In fact, Sports Dad wants to talk to you about a very important word, and that's commitment, because that is one of the most important words that is used around MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. For more than a century now, families have relied on MSP for all their plumbing, drains, heating, and cooling needs. As a 100% family-owned and operated business, MSP committed to taking care of your family. That means this time of year, if you got a problem with the furnace, something does not seem right, definitely give them a call. Right now, get $50 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. That's $50 off. 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com. Call msp.com. Again, committed to making sure that your home is safe, toasty, warm, and all of those things for you and your family. Call msp.com.
Okay, Dukes, so before we get to the rest of your scoop bag here, I feel like we're counting down the days until we get an ownership decision here. We're almost April will be the 4-year mark of the initial agreement between Glen Taylor and A-Rod and Marc Lore. Just a ridiculous saga here, but what are you hearing? I mean, you've been reporting, Glen hasn't been at Target Center in weeks with the hip surgery. What's the vibe right now? Are we going to know at some point in the next few weeks who owns this basketball team?
Few weeks, we will have some sort of conclusion on the arbitration front.
Okay.
Now, remember, if Marc Lore, Alex Rodriguez win arbitration, they still need approval from 23 of the 29 other owners. So, Glen Taylor, current governor of the Wolves, he would not be voting, right? So you need 23 of 29. Speaking of April, Glen Taylor turns 84 years old.
Wow.
In April. Yes. Hip surgery right around Thanksgiving, shortly thereafter for an 83-year-old. That's a 10 to 12 week type recovery. So this is like week, 7 or 8 or 9. So not surprised that we haven't seen him at Target Center, but you'll wonder, right? Somebody that age, heck, we remember less than a year ago, Minnesota State Mankato wins national championships, men's hoops, women's hoops. He's there. His back acted up when he was on the podium, a celebration. His wife, Becky, had to help him off the podium. There's stuff, right? Like you get to that age, it's just tough. So whether the hip, the back, just age catching up to you, like you have to wonder, right? Like, and you guys know this, I have a good relationship with Glen. I truly wonder, right? And hey, I wish him all the best, but I can't just help but wonder about his health. But yeah, we will get some sort of conclusion. So the lawyers from both sides were summoned to Minneapolis Friday, January, I guess it would have been 10th. And so from that point on, I was told 30 days. Now, hey, remember, high profile case. So I get it. The 3 arbitrators, they want to make sure they have everything answered. But let's also not forget, they are being paid thousands of dollars on a per day basis. I will feel horrible, even though they don't need my sympathy. But whichever side loses this arbitration case, not only loses, but is out millions upon millions of dollars. The amount of money they are paying these arbitrators, plus their lawyers, is off the charts. I've long said Marc and Alex have had a compelling case. But at this point, we're all in wait and see mode what these 3 arbitrators will decide.
Let me add some color to this too, just anecdotally. It feels to me through conversations, both sides, and there are very much sides to this internally. It's very awkward, uncomfortable. But both sides are operating with certainty that they are winning this case.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I am experiencing and feeling.
Yes.
In my communications.
I have experienced the same thing. So it's very, very interesting. And imagine if you are Ethan Casson, Ryan Tankey, others high up with the Wolves.
Yeah, you don't know
how awkward things have to be and have been for years, as you laid out, Phil, years. Like it has to be just different. Like, you think about Ethan with his NFL background with the 49ers. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just, opining. I just wonder, is he starting to look around? Has he looked around a little bit? Like, I have to wonder, the stress has to have started to add up if you're one Ethan Casson.
Hey, Dukes, if Glen wins, let's just say, for the sake of what I'm about to talk about here, that he wins, and his health deteriorates, does the Taylor family want the team? Like I guess my question is,
Well, that's been a roller coaster. Yes, that's
right,
been.
but what becomes
Yeah.
of this thing? And
Right now,
and
yes.
is there a chance that the arbitrator's decision can or will be colored by if there's current events behind the scenes that they know about that we don't regarding Glen's health?
Well, I mean, Becky would be in a position. Glen's wife, Becky, is in good health, much younger than Glen, that there would be some sort of succession plan, a plan that's already, my understanding, in place. I don't have all the inner workings of that setup, but yes. But we also know this. Glen, the family, it's been a roller coaster. How many different times going back 10 plus years has he explored the possibility of selling, right? So it could change snap of the fingers. But my understanding in this very moment, there is some sort of family succession plan.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This, as of at least my last communication with people that would know, the succession plan is essentially Becky gets the team, and then Ethan and Ryan and the structure in place. I mean, Tim Conley we'll see what happens then with Tim Conley. Does he decide to opt out? But that essentially the people that are running the team now would continue running the team, maybe even with more power and influence. But I just it'd be nice to have some finality for everybody involved. Like the uncertainty going into the next 6 months. You have the guy that runs your basketball ops can opt out this summer. Anthony Edwards, what does he think? Like, just certainty would be nice one way or the other here.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. A lot of these players have really good relationships with Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if Mark and Alex don't win, what does a guy like Anthony Edwards think? Tim Connolly purposely exercised that opt-out, pushed it back, right? That was calculated. That was very shrewd, smart, right? But he does have that opt-out. Now, hey, I don't know. If Tim Connolly leaves, to me, it's not all doom and gloom. It really isn't, whether you promote Matt Lloyd or bring in somebody else. But we can have a back and forth on that. But I'm just saying, there is so much up in the air. There really is, right? And hey, look at the books moving forward. What's the contract to re-sign Naz Reid? Is Julius Randle here next year? Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Is Nickeil Alexander-Walker this year's Kyle Anderson? That it's inevitable that he's going to leave in free agency. So many different questions.
Yeah. Let's do one more minute here of rapid fire scoops, Dukes. What else do you have in that scoop bag? We got Thursday too, so we'll do some Viking stuff on Thursday. What else you got?
Absolutely, yeah. Judd, did you get that clarification on the Sam Darnold franchise tag? Did you guys use that on Purple Daily?
Did not. And so I got a note from a guy on Twitter, shockingly, about 8 times on Saturday that Darnold can't be franchised because of the expiration of his contract, because the void date is particular. But I checked, or Doogie checked into it with a source and was told that is absolutely not the case. He can be franchised if they so choose. So
correct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's nothing.
Yes.
There's all these little things in the CBA that come creeping up, and you're like, oh, he can't be franchised. And so far, I have found nothing that says that he cannot have the tag put on him. It doesn't mean he's going to, but it means that the option at least is there.
All right, briefly, if you were at the game on Saturday like Judd was or watched on TV, you may have noticed that former Wolves coach Ryan Saunders was sitting second row, not first row. So you're wondering, isn't he one of Mike Malone's top assistants? Why would he be sitting in the second row? He tore his Achilles. So how about this?
Ew.
Tore his Achilles a few weeks ago, gets it repaired, tore it again.
Damn.
And so he's dealing with, torn Achilles.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, though, watching
Watson.
Denver play defense last night in Chicago, the way they played defense on Saturday, Ryan coordinates the Denver defense. You know what? I don't think the pain is the Achilles. I think the pain is, why the heck are my guys not playing to the expectation level that I expect? I mean, typically Denver plays pretty good defense, but I'll tell you what, Saturday and last night, holy cow, Denver's defense completely shredded. On the Twins front, a lefty reliever. Is the pronunciation, Declan, Meza? Tim Meza? Am I saying that right? No? Crickets?
When did this happen? Who was Tim Meza?
All right. He's a lefty specialist reliever, right? Like you're not having him face, I don't think having him face righties. Finished last year with the Yankees, finished okay, former Toronto Blue Jay. He's bounced around. He agreed to terms on Monday with the Pittsburgh Pirates, a major league contract, 1 year for $1.15 million. The Twins made him an offer. So that's the note here. Twins made him an offer, not a major league offer, an NRI offer, non-roster invite offer. But it speaks to the Twins did add a lefty with major league experience a couple weeks ago on a minor league deal. The name top of my head is escaping me. I put the note on Twitter when I received it. So if you can check my Twitter feed a couple weeks back, I put some video of the guy. So that's a guy that has a chance. Point is, like Cody Funderburk isn't that good against lefties. Like Cody Funderburk, I think, is better against righties. If I'm right, Declan, am I right?
The Cody Funderburk slander will not stand on this podcast as long as I am here.
I'm a Funderburk fan. I really am, and I get why the Twins didn't allow him to head to Japan. He had a good offer from Japan a year ago. The Twins said no, right? Because they still believe, at least some do, in Cody Funderburk. But just the numbers last year didn't speak to him being able to get out lefty hitters. So the point is, it seems like with the Meza offer that the Twins are still on the lookout for a lefty reliever, not to mention maybe some other things. But, you know, like other off seasons, very, very slow moving. But like last year, Carlos Santana, that deal came to fruition early February. Like the Pablo Lopez trade a few years ago, that was like January 20-something, right? So
Dylan
I get it.
Cease
Fans
on
are
February
frustrated.
15th.
Yeah. There's nothing going on Dylan Cease. There just isn't.
Shocking.
It could change, I guess, right? Never say never, but
they are making calls, right, Dukes?
Probably not. Yeah.
Well,
They're on the horn.
Sure. Yeah,
They're on the horn all the
They're
time.
on the horn, but I get it. Fans don't want to hear that.
Getting
I just saw some
pizzas
Michael King
delivered.
Yeah, I know. Michael
MSP.
King's team. Yeah. Not with the Twins, but the Padres are listening on Michael King. I mean, if I'm the Twins, I like him. You can't have too much starting pitching, but it doesn't seem like if they do something that it's going to be for a starter. Like lefty reliever, right-handed bat that can play center field. So right now, not Randall Grichuk. The Harrison Bader number came down. He would make some sense. No interest in a Michael A. Taylor reunion. Could you trade for a guy that can play center field, that bats right-handed? So they're still working it, but, you know, just sit back and wait. Eventually a move is going to happen. I still think they are going to sign a free agent to a major league contract. But, yeah, much like the arbitration process, we're very much in a wait-and-see mode on the Twins.
That's the slogan. Twins 25, sit back and wait.
What a franchise.
And nothing on Willie Castro. I had a nice chat with Willie Castro at the Diamond Awards last Thursday night at the Armory. He's well aware. He even told me, like, in the last week, he's heard way more trade chatter versus going back, you know, a month or two. But it doesn't seem like the Twins want to trade Willie. But I also don't get the sense that Rocco wants to play him in center field or at shortstop. So I don't know where those Willie Castro at bats are coming. Maybe DH, I guess outfield, corner outfield, third base.
First base.
Yeah. Maybe he's an option at first, but I don't sense they want to play him as the backup shortstop or the backup center fielder.
Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. We'll see you again on Thursday, sir.
Okay, sounds good, boys. Take it easy.
All right,
How about the
cheers.
Gophers tonight? That should be a fun one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they can't lose now. You guys roll down on the Gophers. All they do is knock off ranked teams and storm the court.
Storm the court.
Let's go.
I was there on Saturday with Droogie. He failed me as a son. He was way too hesitant. I said, get out there. Like, we're
Get out there.
Row.
Go.
Go.
Smart
He's like, no, Dad, you got to come with me. I'm like, no.
And you might
Dad
get
is
trampled.
not going on the court.
I like Droogie.
That is for you, the kid. Get out on the court. Like, for your Instagram story, right? Just get out there, right? Snapchat, whatever the heck
Smart kid.
you're doing.
Saw danger, avoided it.
I know. Well, it took him a while. He eventually went out there. The smart move, though, was there was a line of like 90 people to get a selfie with Parker Fox. Droogie made a very smart decision. He's like, let's get the heck out of here. I don't need to wait in that line. Let's hit the road. So I give him credit for that. But he was right there. Like, he could have been on the court faster than anyone based on where we were seated.
God bless.
And he chose not to. So it was disappointing.
Got to find Parker a 9th year of eligibility somehow. All right.
I know.
Dukes, we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Minnesota
Sounds good. See you,
Sports
boys.
with Mackey and Judd. See you guys.